take care of like a Central Coast tank testing invoice in Fleet. Okay, so first I'm going to pull up the invoice so you can see what we're looking at here. These will oftentimes be given to me by the office staff. A couple key notes that you need to pay attention to. First thing, invoice number, you'll need to know that. You also want to pay attention to the invoice date here. And you also want to know the test date. Additionally, you'll need to know the dollar amount. Now on this invoice you're going to see two different dollar amounts. A lower amount over here, this is if you pay it in time, it'll be this amount. In Fleet, we always want to use this number here. And the other thing is the comments on what was done. These need to be written word for word. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to go into Fleet and we're going to create a work order. And going back to this, the other thing that I forgot to mention is you need to look and figure out which fuel site this is for. In this case, this is for fuel site 1. So when we go into Fleet and we go into ROs, what we want to do is find an existing RO for tank F001. So we're going to do a search. Now, if it's a monthly test, we do these, as the name implies, monthly. So you can find an existing one. Let me go ahead and get to comments so you can see that. Okay, perfect. This is for March 2017. This is a monthly inspection. And what we would do is if we were going to do April's, we would hit the copy button and it would copy all the wording, all the information, and then, we would have very little to modify. We just need to put in the dates. In this case, we're still going to hit the copy since I know this was done by Central Coast Tank Testing, and that'll make a little more sense as we go through it. So again, we're going to get started with the basic tab, and we're going to hit copy. Okay, first thing you need to do is make sure 01 is up on the work order center, and then we want to go ahead and write down the work order number here. So, and what I do is I write this on the invoice sheet itself. So we'll go ahead and do that. Let me just take note of it. Okay, I've got that written down. Now we're going to go to the invoice, and again, what I would do is I would do a stamp similar to this, and I would sign it and date it. And the reason I'm doing that is just to show this was showing that it was received by Christy, and then I'm going to go ahead and stamp it that I received it, and then I went ahead and paid it. This will also get scanned and then be input into the into the file for that repair order, and I'll show you that in just a minute. Okay, so again, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and input the repair order number. Okay, so just to break this down, I'll go back to Fleet, and you'll be able to see where we got the 01 2017 70479 in just a minute. And the very first part of it is this is just identifying that it is for tank F001. Okay, so going back to Fleet, you can see this is where we got the 01 2017 7479. This is just a sequential repair order number. Okay, for equipment ID, we're going to put F001. For whatever reason, sometimes you have to put a meter number in there. Usually you just put 1 and it'll take. Don't ask me why. It's just always been that way. Again, a lot of these fields won't be populated if you're creating a new repair order, which would be hitting this little stick with it looks like a piece of dynamite, but in this case we went to copy and all of this information copied over. So if you're using the same vendor, even if the comments aren't the same, you want to copy, and that way it keeps it all in here. As you can see, here's my employee number. It's going to be, once again, Central Coast Tank Testing, and this is a seasonal prep. Okay, next thing we want to do is we want to go to date and time in. So again, going back to the sheet, this is where the test date comes in. You can see the test date and the invoice dates are two different things. We want the test date to be the date that we use. So we're going to use 4/11. And I always just do 7 o'clock in the morning. It just makes it easier. Want to make sure we have a end status here. That way we're not accruing any downtime. And for our date time in, it's defaulting to the 13th because that's today's date. So 04/11, and then we're going to do 0700. Okay, shop downtime end, and that just means that we're waiting on the any kind of labor to begin. So we're also going to put that at 4/11/2017, and then also 0700. Okay, now user downtime end. User downtime is whoever, whichever department owns that tank. In this case, it's us. So we're going to have it as 1 hour of downtime. So again, 04/11/2017. This time we'll put 0800. Okay, we're also going to click the work finish, and that'll be the same time. So 04/11/20. Oops. 2017, and it'll be 0800. Okay, so that's there. Now, you notice this yellow tab for more information. You've always got to have somebody's name in there. So even though this is internal, I'm not going to put, normally you would put your contact's name, their cell phone, whoever it is that you need to contact. In this case, we're just going to put my name and 5402, the central number. Let me double check all this. Yeah, we're good there. Okay, more information, again, name, phone number, comments. So this is where our comments are going to change, and what we're going to do is we're going to be inputting all of these. I don't think I can copy and paste. Boy, would that be cool. Normally you're not going to have this scanned in here. This is just so you have a visual on this. Okay, so you got to bear with me as I type. Not the fastest typist here, so let me get all this input in here. Okay, as you can see, we have the comments completely filled out. Again, that information comes from right here. Okay, next, let's see. We don't need. I think that's about it. We've got to put in our commercial. We're not going to go to output control is where you'd go to print. We're going to leave that blank because we're not going to be printing this out. However, we are looking for commercial. We need to input that. Since this is a fuel system, we're going to use 3600. That's your task ID for the fuel system. So let's see if we can show that, fuel systems. So anytime you're dealing with Central Coast tank testing, it's always going to be 3600. The date, it didn't use today's date. That's something you want to double check. Make sure it does in fact go back to the date time that we created. Okay, now we have, let's see, let's start tabbing over. what we're looking for is, you can see here, you have your parts cost, miscellaneous costs, labor costs. So in this case, we always just put it under labor costs, and this is where we're going to take the total amount, which is right here. So 1075 even, we're going to put that amount in there. Okay. Next, vendor invoice. Again, vendor invoice, that is right up here, so 15,099. And then the invoice date, again, that is right here, so 4/12/2017. That's what we'll be using. And then for comments, we just want to reiterate that this is Central Coast tank testing, so CCTT will be good enough. Okay, so if I did everything correctly, we should be able to process this, which is here, and it'll say successful, and then you'll be able to find it here as work finished. Okay, so at this point, I would go ahead and stamp the sheet. I would, I write the F00101 2017 70479 on the sheet. I stamp it, I sign it, I scan it, and then I take the scan sheet and then I actually input it into the file. So if you can see here, files. Now, I haven't done that yet. I'm getting ready to do it, but for the sake of this video, I'm just going to show you what it should look like. So when you click on this, here's an example of a sheet here. And you can see here's my received, this is the date, this is the repair order number, the signature. Okay, so that's what I'll be doing. And then when you scan it, it goes into the motor pool folder, excuse me, and you will no. Let's see if we can get out of here. Bear with me. It'll go into the motor pool folder, and the only thing that you'll need to change here, and the way you change it is by opening the file. This will change, so it might be 3677. You would just change that in here, and again, it is work finished. So we're going to go ahead and close it, and you would change your file number, and then once again you would process this, which I'm going to go ahead and do. So again, the only thing that I haven't done is actually put in that scan, but I will go ahead and do that here now. Anyway, that is it. That is how you process that. And then what you do with the actual invoice itself is you would then just give that to either Raquel or Christy or whoever is in the administrative position, and they will release it for payment. Just a quick follow-up video. I wanted to go ahead and just show how to do the scans. Okay, so as you can see here, I'm in the motor pool and in the scans folder. This is the latest scan, which is, you can see here, the one that we just took care of for Central Coast tank testing. And what I'm going to do is, you need to pay attention to fleet 3680. We're going to go back into fleet, and we're going to find that repair order that we made. We're going to go to the Files tab after we unlock it, so let's go ahead and unlock it. We're going to go to File. Oops, it's not unlocked, I don't think. And then, oh, I know why. Silly me. It's closed, so we've got to unlock it first, or excuse me, unclose it. Go ahead and process that, and go back into it as work finished. See, it's a good thing we're doing this. Okay, we're going to unlock it and go back to Files. And again, we're looking to change that to 3680. And then you don't even have to process it. You can check it, and there it is. Okay, and now we will go back to the Info tab and close it. Now you might be wondering, we didn't change the date. We didn't backdate this date when we closed it. The reason we do that is because that's our way of seeing this is when we went ahead and processed the payment. So even though we're putting in a different day for when it was initiated, which is based on the invoice date, or excuse me, the test date. We want this date to be the current day and time. Okay, so we will process that, and it is now closed, and we have the file successfully in there. Alrighty, that is it.